y'all know they over in Mexico tearing white people's asses up right now? If you don't believe me, you can go look it up. But the Mexicans that are in Mexico are literally coming after people who are claiming to be nomads. You know, all those boomers who have now retired and are looking for a cheaper place to live with their retirement. They decided to go to Mexico and try to gentrify Mexico. And they said, no, sir, no, ma'am. The Mexican people are going through their cities where they've built all these places of shops and restaurants, and they are breaking everything. They are blaming this boomer generation and these digital nomads for the reasons why the price of living is going up. They said that over the last 5 years, just rent alone has gone up 43% because of them. They said that because of them, they are now having to choose between groceries, rent, and electricity. And they didn't waste no time telling them, get the fuck out. They even said they was coming on their beaches telling them that their mariachi bands can't play their music. The nerve. That's a cultural thing that's been going on there forever. Why would you think you get to go to someone else's country and tell them what to do? There was even one of the protesters who was quoted stating, this is how colonialism works, and we're going to put a stop to it before it ever even happens, honey. And they don't look like they're joking around, busting windows straight out, honey.
These protesters in Mexico City say cross-border migration is changing their country's capital for the worse. Over the last decade, an influx of mostly American so-called digital nomads have moved here to work remotely and also enjoy a cheaper cost of living. Protesters say the newcomers have driven up rents beyond the reach of locals.
If they're going to live in a country, they have to contribute to that country. The first and simplest issue is legal migration. They come here with visas or no visas, and still the change in purchasing power generates these problems of gentrification and displacement.
I'm here because gentrification is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, and the exploitation of our resources. Right now it's about the people, but it won't be long before they run out of oil, water, or lithium in other countries and come and take them from us.
Many Americans in Mexico are able to still receive high salaries in dollars from U.S. companies by working on laptops from their apartments.
The government is directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local populations who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have even documented cases of up to 60 years. In 5 years, rents have increased by 47%. This is violent for the local population. We are debating whether to pay for electricity, water, or food. Of course, we choose to eat.
Some activists blame Mexico's government for encouraging them. However, there's no simple fix. Imposing tougher visa restrictions on Americans could worsen relations with the U.S. Mexican citizens in the U.S. also send billions of dollars in remittances back to their families in Mexico. In a world where travel and communication are faster and easier than ever, these two nations are finding it harder to have neighborly relations.
So what are we saying? Oh, yes. See, you guys only watch CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, and ABC and CBS, so on and so forth, right? So they neglect to show you what's actually happening in Mexico, but Anton from AntonDaniels.com is definitely going to continue to have the conversation on what is happening in Mexico, specifically in this instance, Mexico City. They don't want Americans there, and they saying take your punk ass dollars and go back to where you came from, because we don't want you bringing your spending power and gentrifying what we got going over here in Mexico. They don't want you there, even though you come over here and you send a whole bunch of money back to Mexico.
These protesters in Mexico.
Shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow This is the brother Kratazah from the Fountain of Living Waters, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled, The Gringos Are Ruining Mexico. So, I mean, you heard what the lady said, you seen the video. It speaks for itself. You know, it's a big problem. You have people who, work remotely on their laptops. Hell, I work remotely on a laptop, and what they're doing is they're picking up and they're moving to these cheaper countries. I heard a lot of people, moving to like Southeast Asia and doing this, but this is the first time I really heard about, people going to Mexico and doing this, which it makes a little bit more sense. It's probably cheaper in, Southeast Asia, but it's closer to go to Mexico, probably cheaper to move to Mexico. So you have these people who are retiring, the baby boomers, and again, these remote workers, and they're trying to take advantage of the cheaper living in the Mexican economy. But what they're doing, and I'm just going to re-explain the video pretty much. They're raising up the cost of living, right? So if let's give an example. Let's say everybody in this area of Mexico was living off of $10 a day, right? And then you come, and then 20 of your friends come, and y'all can afford to pay someone who lives off of let's say $100 a day. Well, now you're going to be spending all that money, and they're not good. And the people who are, landowners, shop owners, they're going to want to take advantage of the money that you have to spend. So they're going to raise the rent. They're going to raise the price of food. They're going to raise the price of gas, so on and so forth, to get that coin about you. But what it's doing, the people who are there, who were originally there, who were making that $10 a day, now they can't afford to pay that $10 a day and still eat. So it's becoming a big problem. And this is, like they said, colonization. It's the beginning of colonization, which is the act or process of settling among an established control. It's like the act or process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. Now I'm going to read also the definition of gentrification. It says the process whereby a character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current inhabitants in the process. So what's the difference? There really is no difference. It's one people settling amongst another people and establishing control, right? So you have the so-called wealthier people, the white tea people, right, the Edomites, moving into a poor urban area and gaining control by controlling the housing and the businesses and displacing the current inhabitants. It's the same deal, which is why people are saying no. That's why these people are,
Those cities say cross.
That's why these people are protesting. Like, man, fuck this. Nah, you're not gonna come and do this to us. You want to when Mexicans and foreigners come to America and try to make a living, you want to kick them out. But when Americans go to Mexico and fuck up their economy, they should just be able to do it. No, you're fucking up their situation. So they should be able to, get their form of ice and kick you motherfuckers out. So let's grab a scripture real quick. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and 5. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. right? So the so-called white man, he's a vagabond, right? Let's just get that word. If I can spell it. Let's get the etymology. A vagabond is without a fixed abode, without a fixed house, wandering unsteadily, right? So a wanderer, and that's what the so-called white man does. He wanders. He goes from place to place, from place to place. All right, establishing his righteousness, or establishing his unrighteousness. You know, he did it with America. Um, you have the Dutch that went all around the world and did it. The Spanish went all around the world and did it. The Portuguese went all around the world and did it. The British went all around the world and did it. And now the Americans are going all around the world and doing it. All right. That's why, you have British colonies in India, British colonies in Australia, South Africa. Hell, the damn near the whole of Africa speaks different languages, speak French and Dutch and all of that. Why? Because they were colonized. All right. So this ain't nothing new. That word. I think they call it Cain the vagabond. Yep, there we go. Call it Bashir Shai. There we go. Right. So this is after Cain killed Abel. Um, the Most High said, Genesis 4:11, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened up her mouth to receive thy brother's blood, and from thy hand, when thou tillest the ground, thou shalt not henceforth yield unto, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. Right. So that was Cain's punishment, to be a fugitive and a vagabond, right? To wander around about. And that same spirit was placed in the Esau, which is why Esau needed to keep it at home. So it says, who desire, going in the middle of verse 5, who enlargeth his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right? So now they going into Mexico trying to push their agenda, trying to take over, but Issachar not gonna have that shit, and it's all through the spirit as well. Um, let's get the second Edges 9:3. It says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the beginning that were before thee, even then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right? For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So, these are part of the wars and the rumors of wars, the uproars of the people, you know, all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. But we are getting closer and closer and closer. The scriptures speak about these uproars, and you're having these protests, you're having these uh, anti-establishmentarianism. I think I used that word correctly. Anti-establishmentarianism. It's a political philosophy that opposes the established social and political and economic structures of society, viewing them as corrupt, repressive, or unjust. Right? Hey, and people are raging against the machine. You know, people don't like what the fuck's going on in society, and they got something to say about it. All right, that's going on, everywhere. So just wanted to, give this preview. You know, Jake is riling up. The spirits are on 10, and we just getting one step closer and closer each day to this place going down. So with that being said, Lord was edifying, and we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, whom taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and sincerity, and the men and women who follow. Shalom.